this way a little bit. Okay, what a day, huh? What a day for everyone. What a day. Okay, I just want to start off by saying this class is dedicated to Refuah Shalema of Nisim and Lydia, Refuah Shalema of David ben Chai Rivka, and for anyone else that wants to say a dedication for this class, you're welcome to write under here who you're dedicating it for, and I'll be happy to dedicate it to them. Nishma, so for Shlema, hit it. Write your names. I'll be happy to say it here. Before we start, you know what? Let's just start. We're going to start right away. So I'm going to share with you something personal that happened today that really threw me off my game a little bit. So I went to the supermarket here in Jerusalem. I usually never go there. I usually never go to this specific supermarket. My friend was telling me that they have amazing sales. You have to go to the supermarket. They have amazing sales. So I went and I spent a long time there because it's like a really big supermarket. And I don't like these huge supermarkets because I hate spending so much time shopping. I just like going in, do my thing and leaving. And it was like one of those shops that you do it, you know? So I went in, I did my shop, and I'm paying at the cash register. I'm literally almost out of the store. I'm this close to getting out of the store. What happens is that I had a very interesting experience. So I'm packing the bags. I'm the last person in line. She closed the register after me. And so I'm packing bags, and the lady's waiting. The lady at the cash register, she's waiting to go. She's waiting to go home. So I'm thinking that, I don't want to hold her up. She's like sitting there and waiting for me to finish because I'm the last customer. So I don't want to hold her up. So I'm like really bagging my stuff really quickly. In Israel, you bag your own produce and stuff. So I'm bagging all my stuff and I'm putting all my stuff on the thing. And I had this mask on, and so I took down the mask because I couldn't open the bags. Hi, Mush. Hi, Rabbi Yitzchak Lasri. Anyone who wants some amazing classes, go to Rabbi Lasri's page. Amazing classes he gives. So I'm bagging my stuff and I'm like using, I need some spit to like open the bag. Okay, I can't get it open. So I take down the mask and I get some spit on my fingers and I start opening the bag. And as I open the bag and I'm filling the bags, I leave my mask down here because I keep having to come back and, do that because I can't get the bags to separate. And my eye catches this guy who's on the other side of the register. And I see him like checking the receipt, like really much like checking the receipt. Now, I never check receipts. I don't have the head for it. I don't check receipts. I hope that everything went well and that's it. And I just get out. But what that did to me was that it reminded me of when I was in this store like 3 years ago with my mom. And my mom checked the receipt and she found like a bunch of errors in the receipt. Like they took a lot more money from her for different things. And when I saw him looking at the receipt, I was like, you know what? I should probably look at the receipt, So I started looking through the receipt and I left all my stuff there. The lady had already packed up and went home because I already paid and everything. So I was not in a rush anymore. I had my mask down here and I leaned against the register and I started looking through the receipt. My first time ever looking at a receipt. I'm looking at the receipt and I'm looking and I found a mistake. They charged me like 12 more shekels for tea than that was written in the tea. I was like, cool, I found a mistake. So so I showed the lady the mistake and she's like, okay, you got to go show it to the main people over there. I was like, okay. And as I'm about to turn back around to continue filling my bags, guess what? 2 cops walk over to me. Can we have your 2.2 number? Can we have your identification number? And I'm like, why? And they're like, we just want to identify you. I was like, why do you want to identify me? And they're like, can we please have your 2.2 number? So I said, okay. And I gave them my 2.2 number. And they're like, miss, you just got a 500 shekel ticket for having your mask off your face. And I was like, I'm bagging my food. I need to have my mask off my face because I'm bagging these bags. We're so sorry. You have to have your nose covered and your mouth covered. I was like, but how am I supposed to open the bag? Like, you don't have anything here to help me get my fingers wet. What am I supposed to do? And they're like, we can't help you. And they walk away. And I was like, wait, I want my ticket. Give me my ticket. I'm not going to get it in the mail because I barely get mail out here. So I want my ticket. They're like, you're going to get it in the mail. So I said, so I was upset. And the reason that I was upset wasn't necessarily because of the ticket. The reason why I was upset was because they told me that the reason that they came to the supermarket in the first place was because other people in the supermarket called the cops to tell them that there are some people walking around the supermarket without their masks on. I know that people are scared of COVID, and I know that people are scared of getting sick, but I also feel very strongly about learning how to deal with each other without having to call, mommy and daddy and tell on each other and tattletale. Like, walk up to the person that doesn't have their mask on with 5 meters apart, whatever, 2 meters apart, and tell them, can you please put on your mask? I'm very scared of this virus that's going around. Do you mind please putting on your mask? 99% of the people in the supermarket had their mouth covered, had their nose covered. But for the 2-3 maybe that were walking around with it under their nose or didn't have it on their mouth, let's say, I didn't see anyone like that, but let's say there was, right? You call the cops and they walk around the supermarket and they started giving tickets to people that literally are comparing prices, like they won't get this because it's 1 shekel more. You know what I'm saying? Like people that have 10 and 12 children and that are barely making it now have to pay 500 shekel tickets because their mask was under their nose, instead of someone coming over to them and just saying, do you please mind putting on your mask? It really makes a difference to me if you did, as opposed to calling the cops on them. That's what bothered me. It made me so angry. I got so angry because the cop herself, she said, I wouldn't have come here. The only reason I came here was because someone called on you guys, right? A bunch of people called. The people that were walking around the supermarket, they called on each other. And I want to tell you guys something really, really disturbing that's going on is that there is this mentality of tattletaling that has been enforced and reinforced on the news. And they keep on sending people phone numbers. If you see something, say something, call this number. If you see something, say something, right? And there is something very, very important to be said about this. Because as Torah observant Jews, we have to know that we are considered poshim, we are considered tattletales, malshinim, when we go and are malshin on our brothers. We are considered malshinim if we go and malshin on our brothers, especially when it comes to things like wearing a mask and like standing far apart. People have different opinions. There's a lot going on. I don't have to tell you what's going on. I don't have to tell you, all the opposing opinions about everything that's going on in the world. I don't have to tell you about it. There are people here that believe in masks and don't believe in masks, that believe in COVID, that don't believe in. Everyone has their opinions, just like it says in the Torah, just like their faces are different. So are their opinions different. Their opinions are different one from another. There's something very, very crucial in knowing how to handle differences, how to know how to tolerate differences, to know that there are people that are going to be pro this and anti that. That's the life, that's the world we're living in. And I can be so passionate about something that someone else is so passionately against. And knowing how to hash it out with each other in a respectful manner, in a way that if it bothers you about this person and you can't stay away from this person and you're locked into the same space with this person for whatever reason, knowing how to respectfully hash it out with each other, how to respectfully make your points and make it clear to the other person with respect to the other person, having respect for the other person, even though their opinions are completely different than yours. And, having this mentality of like, let me go call the cops. And now I walk out of this supermarket that I was supposed to save money in, right? Paying another 500 shekels a ticket for something that is, to me, it was so ridiculous, aside from the fact that there was no one around me and that I was packing my bags and that I had my mask down here and I was literally just, doing that. Being put in this position, this in such a way, being called upon by these 2 cops, they made me feel like I was a criminal. They made me feel, and everyone around was standing and watching. We have to take responsibility for the way we talk to each other. We have to take responsibility for the way we act towards each other, even though we think differently than one another. What is it? What is this mentality of like, let me say what I want, treat you how I want, put you in your place, name call. And what is this? Where is this coming from? Have we lost all senses? Have we got completely off our rockers? You can think differently than I can, and I can think differently than you can. But don't you dare put me down, and don't you dare talk negatively, bad at me, and accuse me, and threaten me, or use words to describe me that are negative. Excuse me, just because I think differently than you. Take a step back. And that's something that's really, really important. And when we speak to our kids, there's something in my house, in this house right here, that there's no tolerance for tattletaling. I don't care what happens. The only reason you can tattletail on your brother is if something is dangerous is happening. If he's doing something dangerous, that's dangerous for him. Otherwise, I don't want to hear you tattletaling on your brother. I don't want to hear you tattletaling on your brother. If I see it, I see it. If I don't see it, I wasn't meant to see it. Period. He's running the water for too long. He didn't brush his teeth. Who are you? Are you the guard here? Are you the policeman here that's going to go? No. If I see it, then I'll have a talk with him. And if I don't see it, it's none of your business. Don't be a malshin. We have to really reinforce this, especially within our homes, because we're apparently living in a time when it's a mitzvah to be malshin. It's a mitzvah to go ahead and to tattletale. Deal with it yourself. Before you call the police, deal with it yourself. Okay? And so that's something that was very upsetting to me. I actually left my cart and I went to look for her. I went to look for the cops in the supermarket. And on my journey to find them, I found them and I said to them, I really want my ticket because I'm not going to get it in the mail, and then you're going to double charge me and triple charge me and quadruple charge me. Give me my ticket. And she said to me, don't tell me what to do. And she got into this whole little thing with me. And I said to her, I really, really feel bad in my heart that you are in this position in your life to punish people and to make people feel so awful, as opposed to just treating people with respect. There's all this like belittling and I'm better than you and all of that. And then on my way out of the supermarket, I went around telling the people that had their masks under their noses, which were like 2 people that I found in the whole place, to cover their noses, to make sure that they don't get ticketed also. And so today's what we're talking about. Amen, Yosef. Thank you. So today what we're talking about is Parshas Bo. Parshas Bo is dealing with the last 3 makos, okay? The last 3 makos in Mitzrayim, and then it's also dealing with Yetziat Mitzrayim when we're leaving. It's the Exodus. And what I'm going to hone in on right now is an amazing piece by Rabbi Nachman. Amazing piece by Rabbi Nachman. He talks about the Makkah of Choshech. Talks about the Makkah of darkness. Now we know the Makkah of darkness lasted for 3 days. Some say 6 days. That it lasted for a long time. It was the longest Makkah that there was. And what happens there is that the Makkah gets increasingly worse. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And it goes from them not seeing to them not being able to move to them. There was just like this thickness of the dark. In this darkness, Jews died and Mitzrayim died. And the reason that we had to have the darkness there, it was for so many reasons. But one of the reasons that Hashem made this darkness and waited for the Jews that didn't merit to leave Egypt, the ones that wanted to stay in Egypt, the ones that didn't want to leave Egypt, the ones that felt home in Egypt, is the reason that is for that is because he didn't want the Egyptians to see them dying. Out of respect for the Jewish people. He didn't want the Egyptians to say, oh, so your God is also killing you. He's not just killing us. So he took away the neshamos that needed to be taken away, the ones that had a din on them during this time of Choshech. Now, what we're going to learn tonight is this concept, the spiritual concept of darkness, because nothing in the Torah is just a story that happened 3,300 years ago when we became a nation in this land, in this faraway land called Egypt. It has nothing to do with necessarily what actually took place. the message for us today is so deep on so many levels. There's so much to learn from, from the Torah and from the Parshios and from every single letter, every single mamish, every piece, every movement that happens in the lines of the Torah is so much so for our existence in this reality that we're living in right now, in these bodies that we're in, experiencing this journey that we're in right now, that is a limited, that is a timely journey, that is not forever. We're not here forever. We have this experience with our bodies on this world, and then we move into another reality, and then we move into another experience, okay? But this experience is the most important experience of all the experiences that our soul is ever going to go through. This world, this olam hasiyah, this body that we're in, where it's really not easy. It's really, really very difficult to navigate. It's not easy to know what's right and what's wrong. And that's why all these fights that are going on online between all these people and all this name calling and all this putting down, it hurts me. I have cried over this. It bothers me so much because everyone's seeing things from their own filter. Everyone's seeing things from their own experiences. Everyone is seeing things from their own stuff that they went through in their life. Everyone feels passionate about what they feel passionate. There is no room. I just can't stress this enough. We don't have space to put each other down because the other person doesn't see it like us. It's not fair. It's just not fair. It bothers me so much. But so this parsha here, it's talking about the choshech. So the makkah of choshech symbolizes the spiritual darkness that we're talking about. And spiritual darkness, really what it means for us in our life is the emptiness that we sometimes feel, and the failures that we experience in our life, and the inability to get our life together, the inability to get it together in the area that we wanted to get it together in. Okay, we want to get married, we want to have a successful marriage, we want our husbands to change, and we want our wives to change, and we want our children to take life more seriously and to succeed, and we want them to have more friends, and we want to buy a house. We don't want to live in this reality anymore, and we're always looking for change. We always want to upgrade. We always want our life to become a better one. And what happens to us oftentimes is that we're very, very focused on the things that are not going well, even though we have a lot of things that are going well. Baruch Hashem, we have the health in our bodies, and we have children, we have marriages, we have money in our bank accounts, we do have a lot of things going for us. But our nature is to look at all the things that are very, very difficult for us, and that we wish were different, and we wish we're different. And what happens to us is that I'm feeling stuck in this area. I just want this to go. It's not budging. It's not working. I'm not turning the page. I'm not upping. I'm not moving to the next level. I want my life to change already. I want this thing that's stuck for so long. I want it to get unstuck. I want to feel, like I'm moving in my life. I want to feel like I'm making progress. And what happens to us is when we feel like we're not making progress is that we start moving into a place of choshech, is that the choshech starts to come in. The darkness starts to come in. And what's this darkness that we're talking about? It's a spiritual darkness. And spiritual darkness, the way it feels in real life, the way it feels really is yush, which is we feel like giving up, is sadness, is feeling like we have no purpose. It's feeling like, just getting into these dark moods, like things are never going to change. They're always going to stay this way, right? When you start feeling your energy is going down, when you start feeling sad, you got to know that the choshech is coming in. The choshech, the spiritual choshech, is what Rabbi Nachman describes as, I don't know if this is Rabbi Nachman, I don't know, I read it in a piece, but I don't know if he quoted Rabbi Nachman on this, but he says it's almost like sadness is the part in the car, I have it in my car, you have to put in a code in order to turn on the car, right? If you don't have the code, the car doesn't turn on. So sadness is that piece that almost like disconnects the whole car, where, you can have all the pieces of the car working, but there's this one piece, there's this one key that if it's not if it's not there, then the whole thing doesn't turn on. And that's sadness. Atzvus, okay, which is the main manifestation of choshech in our life. Sadness makes your whole being almost like paralyzes you, okay? It doesn't give you when you're happy, you're high. You have energy. You like to give. You give out your smiles. You give out your help. Your energy is high. Okay, you have a big energy. You have a good energy about you. When you're sad, you feel depleted and you feel like you're paralyzed, like you can't do anything, like you can't move in any direction, like you're just unhappy. Okay, you feel like the whole machine is slow. The whole machine gets slowed down. And so he says, Rabbi Nachman, he says like this. And this gave me so much hope. This gave me so much hope because I feel like, if we get this in our lifetime, and if we really get this in our lifetime, then we won't have to go through so much pain. And this is the emes, friends. This is the truth. This is really the truth. And we get so complicated. We complicate things because we want so much. But this is really the truth of things. And the truth is that Rabbi Nachman gives an example of bags with holes. And he says, imagine that you got a job and your job was to fill up bags and fill them up to the top and just keep filling up these bags. And you have two sets of people, he says. One set of people get this job and they start filling it up and they realize that there's holes in the bag. They realize that there's holes in the bag. So whatever they're filling up is just, they're losing on the other end of this. And the other group of people are filling up these bags with these holes. And they also realize that there's holes in the bag and the stuff is moving, is leaving from the other side, is falling out from the other side. And so he says the first group of people are going to say, I'm not doing this anymore. This is ridiculous. I'm putting all this effort, all this energy, all this emotion, all this care into filling up these bags, and nothing's happening. I'm losing everything on the other. I'm not doing anything. I'm not progressing. I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not doing anything. It's not helping me, right? And they leave and they just quit. And the other group of people say, I don't care. I'm getting paid. Who cares whether it's the bag is being filled or not being filled? My job is to fill up these bags. My job is to do this, to fill this up, close it up. Who cares if it ends up being empty? I'm doing my job. And so Rabbi Nachman says, you would think that the first group of people are the correct group of people. You would think that they're the ones that are like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. I'm not building anything. I'm not going anywhere. Why would I put effort into something that's not doing anything for me or contributing to anyone in the world? Why would I put for goodbye? He says, but really the second group of people are the group of people that are correct. Because the group of people that are filling up those holy bags and that are just doing their jobs, they're the ones that are smart. They're the ones that are right. And he says, because the reason for that is in our life, so often we feel like I put so much effort and so much energy into something and I don't see anything come from it. I don't see fruition come from it. I don't see any thing. I put my all into this. I put money into this. I put energy into this. I went to meetings for this. I made contact, phone calls. I went through a lot to make things happen, to move things along. And it's like filling up bags with holes. Nothing. The end result is not amazing. There's no end result. I keep starting from scratch. I feel like I keep starting from scratch. And it's really, really, really painful to a lot of us that feel like I put so much effort and energy into this, okay? And I remember feeling this very, very much when I got divorced. I remember feeling like 5.5 years of putting so much effort and so much energy into a marriage that in the end, I walk, all I walk away with is a piece of paper. And 2 children, Baruch Hashem. But into the marriage, I put so much blood, sweat, and tears. And I end up walking around with this piece of paper that says, congratulations, you got divorced on May, whatever. Now what? Now what do I do? I start dating? Like I went through the dating process. I already stood under a chuppah. I already had my babies. I already had Shabbos meals and guests and mikvah and did all of the things that you do as a married woman. And now I'm back to square what? Now I'm in shidduchim? What? I'm still having a hard time with that whole piece because it just feels like I'm not at that stage anymore. I'm not there anymore. I don't want to go backwards. Right? I want to go forward. And sometimes we feel in our life like, I have so much experience. I put so much effort. I go to the max with the amount of effort and trying and hishtadlus that I do. And then I'm back to square one. The business that I tried to build never happened. The marriage I tried to build never worked out. The child that I tried to build, not showing any signs of anything changing. The house that I tried to buy fell through the cracks. Things that I'm putting so much effort into. My diet, I'm on a diet for 4 or 5 days, and then I can't do it anymore. So much effort went into the 4 or 5 days that I tried. I went shopping, I cooked, I this, I that, I food prepped, I did all these things that everybody's telling me to do, and then I fell off the wagon and I can't get back on. And this is, I think, the biggest Yetzer Hara for us in our generation, in our lives. For sure, for me, I have this big time in my life that, don't tell me I got to level 40 and now I'm back in level 1. Don't tell me that. It's almost like someone that counts Fierce Omer and gets to day 48, and then they forget to make a bracha. That you can rip your hair out of your head, that kind of thing. So everything I did was for naught. Everything I did was for nothing. Everything I did was, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Right? And that is exactly what Rabbi Nachman is teaching us here. And this message is such a strong message. Oh my gosh, when I read this, I was crying. I couldn't hold myself back because I feel this very often. I feel like, filling up bags, putting so much energy into different projects and ideas that I have and meetings that I go to and all these things and dating and different things like that. And then back to square one. What do you want? What do you want? Why can't I progress? I want to progress. And this is the message that Rabbi Nachman teaches us in this week's Parsha. It's a very, very, very powerful message, and one that I really needed to hear. He says, the reason that the first group of people are the second group of people are the smartest group of people, the ones that say, even if the bags are holy, I'm still going to keep filling them up because I'm doing my job. My job is not to make sure that these bags are full. My job is to make sure to fill up the bags. There's a very big difference. You heard the difference? My job is not to make sure that the bags are full. My job is to fill up the bags. And we need to just do our job, which means that our job is to keep going. Our job is to keep putting effort into the things that are important in our lives. If you're a mother, your job is to put an effort into raising your children, if you're married, into putting an effort on a daily basis. It's the daily grind. It's the daily grind that we're talking about. On a daily basis, to put in that effort, to keep showing up, to keep coming back. But it didn't work, but we got into a fight, but the kid is not listening, but I lost my job. You keep showing up. You put it the front, one foot in front of the next, and you keep doing the thing that you came into this world to do. You didn't come You didn't come into this world to make sure there's a perfect outcome. You didn't come into this world to make sure that the ending is excellent. You can't control the ending. You can't control the outcome. All we can control in our life, my friends, the only thing we can control is if we keep showing up and if we keep doing our hishtadlus. If we keep saying to ourselves, okay, this is my calling, this is what I have to do with my life, this is what is on my plate, this is what requires me. This is what requires me as a person. I have to know that this is where I have to put in my effort. But look, I'm failing. Right, left, and center, I'm failing. Right, left, and center, things are not working out. Things are not progressing. Things are not becoming what I want them to become. I'm putting so much energy into this, but it's not becoming. My job is not to worry about if it's becoming or not becoming. My job is to every single day on a consistent basis continue to put hishtadlus into my life to make it a better life. That is it. It's not a matter of the end results, my friend. It's not a matter of who you become at the end of this. That is very, this world way of thinking. This world is all about outcomes, all about bottom lines, all about the proof is in the pudding, all about the show me the end result. That is this world that we're living in. And that's why it's so confusing, this concept. The concept is so confusing because it's so different from what we're used to. We're used to when you are a finished product, then you get the round of applause. Then everyone recognizes you. Then everyone says, hooray, hooray, good for you, good for you. No one looks at a marriage after 50 years and says, you guys are so perfect because you were just, made for each other. They worked for 50 years. For 50 years, they worked. Every argument, every toothpaste that was uncovered, every garbage bag that needed to be taken out, every interaction, every conversation, every time there was a miscommunication, every handling of a miscommunication, the raising of it, every single thing is a trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. It's not just works out for people. It doesn't just work out for people. It doesn't just have, someone, I was by a Shabbos table and someone told me, Devorah, it looks like online, it looks like that, from Facebook and whatever, that everything you touch turns to gold. I almost choked on my food. Like, how could that is like the furthest thing from the truth. That's the furthest thing from the truth. I work so hard at trying to walk the talk, at trying to do what I teach, at trying to do what I learn, at being a patient mom, at being besimcha, even though it's not always easy to be besimcha, at being patient with life, even though you want things to just happen already. At smile, often I stand in the mirror and I just do this because I'm supposed to do this, because I heard and I learned that if you do this for a certain number of seconds, something like 17 seconds or something like that, the endorphins in your mind get released and you feel better. You do the work. You just have to do the work. You create the person that you want. They don't just show up. And the reason that I specifically am talking about this makas choshech is because I know so many people, including myself at different times in my life, where the darkness, the spiritual darkness came into me, where the negative thinking and the bad thoughts and the being in the moods and the being just feeling down on myself and just being, having no patience for God anymore and no patience for things to take so long and feeling like things are not going to change and things are always going to stay in this loop forever and ever. And things are just going to always be this kind of way, stuck, and all of these things, the darkness, those things are dark. I'm never going to really make anything of myself. I'm never going to really be, all those thoughts that we have. I make a mediocre paycheck. I make a mediocre mother. I make a mediocre father. I'm not really a success in anything. My health is and my life is and this is It's all No matter how much effort I put in, it's And I don't even put in enough effort. I should probably put in more effort. And that internal dialogue is the choshech that we're talking about. It is the makas choshech, this week's parsha, of this makas choshech, right? The reason that they couldn't move is because that's what choshech does to us. Choshech paralyzes us. The dark feelings and the dark thinking, then they come in through the cracks in our life when we see things that we're not good enough. We're not good enough. We're not doing good enough. I see that no matter how much I try, it's not good enough. Okay, it's not perfect. It's not the best result. It's not the result that I wanted. There isn't even a result. The result is a failure. So that choshech coming in, that's the reason that they weren't able to move. They were not able to move because that's what it does to us. It keeps us paralyzed. And so if you're alive in this world, and this world is all about olam ha'asiyah, it's all about the world of action, it's all about the world of movement. If you are in this world of movement, and we are in this world of movement, and we're here in a limited, not so much time, it's not endless, right? And if you feel like thinking these things paralyzes you, numbs you, shuts you down, you got to know that you are being dealt with, but the negative powers that are around are taking over you. And you have to know that if you are paralyzed, if it's coming to paralyze you, to slow you down, it's not right. This is not MS. This is not Ratzon Hashem. This is not, you have to be careful. And the way to be careful is to do this. And this is what Rabbi Nachman teaches, and this is what we're learning. He says, all that matters is hishtadlut. All that matters, he says, hishtadlut bonala nukilim banefesh. Hishtadlut is what changes us. It's not the end result that changes us. It's not, when I get there and when I'll be married and when I'll have that job or when I'll be skinny or when my children will grow up and be normal and when all these things and when I drive a nicer car and when I have better friends, then I'll be, a success in my life. But up until then, I'm just going to be, mediocre or a failure. No, not Jewish, not the way to think, not true, not emes. The emes is that what matters is the hishtadlus. What matters is that you keep trying. You keep trying. Your trying is all that matters. It's all that matters. You keep trying is all that matters. So let's say, for example, today you had a day with your kids, okay? You had a day with your kids. So you had 10 experiences with them. You woke them up in the morning, you gave them breakfast, you went out, you got in the car, you drove to the supermarket, you went shopping, you took them out for pizza, you did a few different things, and then you came back home. You also, okay, at night had a run-in with them, which means you got upset, annoyed, impatient, and as mothers go, oftentimes, is that we become very guilty. We feel very guilty for either getting impatient, of short-tempered, or whatever it is, right? And then what do? What's the nature of, what's the nature of us? Yes, what's the nature of us is that we then feel like, why did I do that? I'm such a bad mom. I feel so bad. They don't have this and they don't have that. And it's so difficult for them. And why do I make it even harder for them? And why am I this? All of these things. And in essence, it's not the Jewish way. The Jewish way is to look at the hishtadlus that you did. The 500 times throughout the day that you were patient and that you did care and that you bit your lip and you didn't say the thing that was on your mind and that you empowered them and that you gave them a push in the right direction. That is what matters. The hishtadlut is what matters. The hishtadlus, it's the you keep trying. You keep trying at work. You keep trying in your marriage. You keep trying in your motherhood. You keep trying with your dieting. You keep trying with your friendships. You keep trying to keep shmir salashon, to watch what you say. You keep trying. You keep trying. That's it. He says when you do the hishtalis is what changes you. He says that if in essence, Rabbi Nachman says that in essence, if God wanted a perfect world, he would have set it up that way. But he doesn't. He doesn't want perfect endings. That is why Klal Yisrael, when they were in Mitzrayim, they built, Pitom and Ramses, they built these big pyramids, and then the next day they would come and they were sunken. They built on quicksand. And the pain that caused them, because we want to see finished results, we want to see endings, we want to see successful endings, we want to see starts and finishes, and that's very, very, very normal, and that's very expected of us. We want to see those things happen. But we have to know that from God's perspective and from what he values the effort. He values lefum tzara agra. According to the effort, according to the ishtalas, is the reward. It has nothing to do with the end result. The end result, lo alecha melcha ligmor. The end result is in God's lap. It's in his hands. It's not in yours. It's not in ours. So he says here, the goal is to lemalot et hachavit kol pa'am mechadash. The goal is to fill up those bags with the holes every single time anew. To fill it up anew every single time. You know how difficult that is? It's so difficult because it goes against our grain. It goes against what we want. It goes against everything that we're about. And yet that is the mission. That is the work. The work is to keep filling the holy bags. The work is to keep filling them because that's all you got to do. That's all that's expected of you. All that's expected of you is to just keep filling them up. Not expected to make sure that they're full. It's to keep filling them up. he says like this. He says the point of all of this is to get to three things. And these three things are Mesirut, Emunah, and Koach HaNetina. In essence, all of this world and everything that we're about and everything that we're doing and everything that we want to succeed and accomplish, in essence, there are three things that we need to accomplish. That's it. Beyond these three things, there's nothing that we don't have anything in our control. The only thing that we're expected to really, really acquire in our lifetime, and it's only going to happen through this act of filling up the bags and they get emptied out, filling up the bags and they get emptied out, putting in effort, it doesn't work, putting in ishtalos, going to meetings, running around, trying to make money, trying to get married, trying to do all these things, and your effort seems to go to waste. He says that Rabbi Nachman says like this. He says the three things are that happen as a result, okay, as a result of doing hishtadlus, of putting in effort. The three things that get built in your nefesh, these three kalim, these three vessels that get built in your nefesh, that only get built in your nefesh from hishtadlus, from hishtadlut, from trying. Only the trying piece, not the end result piece. The only things that happen, that form that you give birth to, are Mesirut, Emunah, and Koach HaNetina, which means you become a person that understands what it's like to sacrifice. Sacrificing becomes something that you become familiar with. And there's something so powerful about a person that knows what it means to sacrifice for the greater good. There is something so positive and so powerful about a person understanding that nothing really happens in my life that's chashuv, that's really, really important, without some level of self-sacrifice, without giving in some way that is not comfortable, that is not easy. And people that have worked on themselves know exactly what I'm talking about. People that have gotten out of bed earlier, that have made themselves that juice, that have stayed away from certain foods, that have stayed away from gossiping, that have gone to their parents' house even if they don't want to be mechabed them, and go and say hello, and their parents don't need to see them and they don't need to see their parents, but they go and it's hard for them and they swallow it and they go. And people that know what it's like, that is, they want to keep Shabbos and it's so hard for them to keep Shabbos, and they know the fear of, and the hardship of standing up against their knee-jerk reactions and not doing it. It's the sacrifice piece. You can't have anything good in your life if you're not going to sacrifice for it. Because the sacrificing piece, the sacrificing is the part that's hard. It's the part that's difficult. It's the part doesn't come easy to you. It doesn't come easy to me to get up in the morning and to go on a jog. It doesn't come easy to me to go pray. It doesn't come easy to me to not get upset. It doesn't come easy to me to give in, and it doesn't come easy to me. It's much easier to call the cops on somebody than to approach the person themselves. It's much easier to take to hide behind our laptops, our the desktops, our keypads, and to curse people and to put people down and to make people feel like they're less than us because they think differently than us. It's much easier to be that kind of person. Sacrificing is learning how to talk. It's sacrificing for a greater good, for the greater part of yourself, to become a greater person, to upgrade yourself. And so the first way to understand that, the only way to really understand the way to upgrade in life, is to sacrifice for something that you care about, that you want to see in your life. And the sacrifice doesn't have to be major. We're not doing a sacrifice of Avram Avinu over here and Yitzchak, okay? We're not bringing up our child to the altar. What we are bringing up to the altar are bits and pieces of something. For example, today in the supermarket, that story that happened with the cop and me, when I was walking at her and I wanted to find her, I was literally so angry. I had anger. I was so angry. I also was angry that I got a ticket. I was angrier that someone called the cops on people in the supermarket. Okay. I was just angry. And as I was walking over to the cops, I was thinking to myself, Devorah, don't get angry. Devorah, don't lash out. Devorah, don't lash out. Devorah, don't lash out. I didn't lash out. Thank God. I didn't lash out. But the part of me that wanted to lash out was very strong. So there was some sacrifice there. And it was very easy. It was very hard to bite my tongue. It was almost impossible for me. I really, 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 really wanted to say a lot to them. So that's the idea. The idea is that even when you're so angry, you want to break a chair. And you're so hurt that you just want to say the worst things. And someone really put you down and you want to get them where it hurts. And someone's online on Facebook and he's digging into you. And you want to just badmouth this person. And you want to just talk a shahara about this person. And you want to just get him back. And you want to do all these things back to this person. The part of us that understands that that the only way to grow, this is anisayon. And like my friend told me when I called my friend after I got this ticket, I said to her, oh my God, I got a ticket in the cops. And she's like, Devorah, you're forgetting. It's from Hashem. It's from Hashem. You got a ticket from God, not from the cop, from God. He sent you this ticket. And he put you in a position where he tested you. And he did. He really tested me. And I hope I passed. I don't know if I passed fully. I hope I did. But it's very, very easy to get caught up in the moment, in the heat of the moment, and to blame this person and say, how could that person say that? And how could that person do that? And how could that person believe that? How could that person think that? And how could that person talk to me that way? How can they tell me after everything I've done for them? You're being tested. We're being tested. Okay? It's all a facade. The people in your life, the relationships in your life, your bank account, it's all a facade. It's all there to make you into we are in the gym of life. And the weights that we're lifting are the tickets and the people that are bad-mouthing us and our husbands or our wives or the kids or the bank accounts or the boss or the things that are not going well or the trial and error and trial and error and trial and error and enough of trial and error. I just want to succeed. All of these things it's the gym of life. It is all God putting us in the gym, putting a weight in our hands and saying to us, lift this, lift it. But it's so much easier for me to blame her because I feel like she put the stupid ticket in my hand, not God. She put the weight in my hand. So let me go find her and track her down and give her a piece of my mind. She didn't put the ticket in your hand. God put the ticket in your hand. God put that weight in your hand. And he says to you now, you got something that you're not happy with? You're not happy with this reality? How are you going to deal with it? What's the knee-jerk reaction? Anger? Anger? How are you going to deal with it? Because you know that anger never gets you anywhere. You know that it only creates bad things in your life. So how are you going to deal with it? Do you remember that it's me that put it in your hand? Do you remember that it's me that runs the world? Do you remember en olam? There's nothing really happening. It's all a facade. Bishvili nivra olam. The world was created for you. The world was created for you. There are no people. There are no police officers. There is no. It's all a matter of how you are experiencing it. The experience of the things that you're going through in your life, the experience of those things are making you into the you that you want to become, are making you, they're molding you into you. And your reaction to the experiences that God sends you in your life, your reactions to it are everything that matters. And let's say you reacted badly and you reacted wrongly. It's okay. It's okay. It's a learning experience. Reflect on it. Remember, you are a work in progress. You are a work in progress. Maybe you have to be reminded by your friend to tell you, Devorah, it wasn't the cock that put the ticket in your hand. It wasn't your husband that said that to you. It wasn't your kid that acted that way. They are just a messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. You're being tested. How are you going to react now? Is your ego going to react or is your soul going to react? Where are you going to react from right now? Because if I keep reacting from my ego, if I keep reacting from the blame game that we're all in, apparently, if I keep reacting from that place, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to continue, God is going to continue sending me people and situations that are difficult and heavy until I get the point, oh yeah. She literally walked into the store, this cop, from a store with maybe like 700 people in it. There was like thousands of people in there. It felt like so many people were in that store today. She walked straight up to me. Is that a coincidence? Did she give me the ticket? No. And what happens to you in your life, okay, is completely tailor-made for you. And the reason that you had to go through that thing today, and the reason that you had to experience that conversation or that fender bender or that loss of money or that experience with people that you love, or that someone bullying you on the internet or whatever it is, the reason that you had to go through it is because now you're being tested in Shemaim. How are you going to react? How are you going to respond? How are you going to respond? Because you have what it takes to respond the right way. You understand that, right? We have what it takes to respond the right way. We have it all inside. It's not like I could, I have what it takes to respond the right way. And now you have to take this into account also. Let's say you responded the right way. Let's say you didn't get angry. Okay? You didn't get angry, or you got angry and you held it in and you didn't lash out. You went for a walk, you took a shower, you did something else. You changed the scenery. You escaped from the reality because you don't want to react this way. Okay, because you're being tested. It's not about him and her and this and that. It's that you're being tested from Shemaim right now. They're shining a light on you and you're being tested. Let's see how Devorah is going to react in this situation. Let's see. So being that that's the reality and that you responded the right way and you took a step back and you took a deep breath and you responded the right way, okay? Being that you responded the right way, now you have an upgrade. You've upgraded in your nefesh. You've created vessels. You've moved up. When we say we moved up, you evolved. You have just now moved past the older version of yourself. You want new things to come into your life. You want change to come into your life. You want your husband to be nicer, your wife to be better, to your children to grow into good, successful people, happy people. You want the things that you want to see in your life happen. It's not by trying to change them externally. It's when we shift emotionally, when we shift spiritually, when we shift ourselves by the decisions that we make, by the reactions that we have. What happens is that naturally our world shifts, our relationship shifts. People talk differently to us, act differently towards us, love us more. We get what we want that way when we understand that the work has to get done internally. Internally. There's no him and her. En olam. The world that you're experiencing is your gym. And the stuff that's going on in your life that's difficult is the stuff that God's putting in your arms, in your hands right now. And he's saying to you, lift. I believe in you. I know you can lift. And I just want to say one more point. And if you say to God, I can't lift, and if you have that knee-jerk reaction, and you go through that experience, you have that knee-jerk reaction, and you say, I can't lift, it's too hard, and you get upset at the person, or you have a human reaction. Okay, let's say that's the reality. Hashem will give you another test. And he'll give you another test, and it's okay. We're not supposed to get it all right all the time. But just know, be aware of the fact that fighting the person in front of you, fighting the life you're living, fighting the reality that you're in is never, ever going to take you to the next level. It's never, ever going to take you to the next level. It's not what you got to be putting in your effort. That's not where you have to put in your energy. Your energy needs to go into realizing that this is all happening for me. It's all happening for me to evolve. It's all happening for me to make a better decision right now, to make have a better reaction right now, to up my level, up my game, to react not the way I normally react, act differently, speak differently, understand that God has tailor-made this experience for me because he wants me to upgrade. That's why this is why it's happening to me. And like we said earlier, it's not a matter of, all that matters here is hishtadlus. Hishtadlus is putting in the effort. Hishtadlus is putting in the effort, regardless of end result. So you put in the effort. And by putting in the effort, and again, effort doesn't mean I win every time. Effort doesn't mean I make the right decision every time. Effort means, now I look at how I failed. I failed in that situation. I screwed up in that situation. Okay. What am I going to learn from it for next time? How am I going to, I messed up here. Don't knock yourself for messing up because that's also the Yetzer Hara. You have to know when you start knocking yourself and you start feeling guilty and you start feeling stupid and that's also the Yetzer Hara. It's also the Yetzer Hara. That's also bad. It's not helping your nefesh. It's not helping you. It's only making it harder for you. learn to fail with grace. Learn to fail and say, it's okay, you failed. We're a work in progress. That's what we were given 120 years on this world, and we weren't given a few months. Okay? We were given time, and time is our best friend. And the more we listen to classes, and the more we learn Torah, and the more we plug into the truth, the more we'll have clearer vision as to what's really going on behind the scenes of this matrix. What's really going on behind the scenes here? What's really going on behind the scenes is that this world was created for you. And every person that comes into your life, every person, from the guy in the grocery store, to your husband, to your child, to your mother-in-law, to your mother, to the people that you're going to maybe meet for a minute in your life, to those that you're going to meet for hours, and those that are going to stay from the beginning to the end. All of those experiences, all of those interactions, all of those people are there just to help you evolve, upgrade. That's it. And they're coming at you. Some come at you with love and kisses and hugs, and some come at you with daggers, and some come at you with stones, and some come at you with verbal abuse, and some come at you with really bad messages, and some come at you with all different things, with tickets and doctors, and bad evaluations by doctors, and experiences that are hard. And you have to know that all that matters is knowing that this is the setup. This is a setup. I am the main character. This is all happening for me. And this is happening in an effort to have me react in the right way, to have me react in a way where I understand that this is all facade and this is all for me to make a better choice right now. And to look up at Hashem and to say, I know, I'm so upset right now. But by being upset, I understand, I tell myself that God made a mistake. That's what I'm in essence saying when I'm upset. When I'm upset about something that happens to me in like this ticket person, right? This cop that came up to me being upset about getting a ticket is saying in essence to Hashem, you made a mistake, God. That's not fair. I shouldn't have gotten this ticket. That's not fair. And the irony of it all is that I never check receipts. And I got it while I was checking this receipt to save. And so I saved 10 shekels because they did make a mistake. But then I have to pay 500 for a ticket. That's the irony. I think that's what got me upset because I never check receipts. And I check a receipt and then I get a ticket for 500 shekels. Is that right? Is that okay? It's not okay. But it is okay. It's not just okay. It's perfect. It's perfect. Wow. I feel like I really worked through what happened to me today with you guys. Thank you for listening. I see it from a very different perspective right now. I really do. I see where I messed up. I see where I where I was, I did sacrifice a little bit, but I also see where I didn't see. I see where I didn't see. And that's the choshech. That's why in this week's parsha, when it talks about choshech, it's this inability to see clearly. And if you're not learning Torah, Torah is or. Torah is light. If we're not learning Torah, we don't have an ability to see clearly. We don't have an ability to see clearly because we're in this matrix, and this matrix has its own rules and its own ways and its own vibe, and we can't see clearly in the matrix. We think we're making the right decision. We think we gave it to them. We think we put them in their place. We think, we told them, that this is the right way and they are wrong. We think we manipulated this one and we cut corners in that way and whatever we did. But we're wrong. And the only way for us to know between wrong and right, between or and choshech, between truth and dishonesty, the only way for us to know what's real and what's not is by learning Torah. Because Torah is the light. It is the light. When we learn Torah, then we get perspective and we're like, oh, no, I shouldn't have been upset at that cop. Okay, I'll know for next time. I'll know next time I'm in a situation where all of a sudden I feel the anger coming up. I'll know, oh, you're angry right now because you're saying to God, Hashem, you made a mistake. That's not fair. Why'd you do that to me? Instead of saying, oh, okay, Hashem, this is from you. Thank you for the ticket. And thank you for putting me in this position. And thank you for allowing me to know that it's from you and it's all a setup. This is all a setup. I'm in the gym of my life and this is going to give me an upgrade. My reaction, my smiling at her and saying, thank you so much. Have a great day. I hope you find a better job. I didn't say that. But I said, I'm sorry that this is your job. How can you walk around giving people tickets all day, Jewish people tickets all day, and feel okay going to sleep at night? But that's my lack of emunah, you understand? Because she's just a shaliach. She's just a shaliach. And that's really something that, you know, that we really have to understand. And this week's parsha is so full, so much Torah on this idea of learning the difference between light and dark, and knowing that you can think that you are in the light, but we're not in the light if we don't have Torah in there. I can think that I'm responding from the right way, but I'm not responding from the right way. I'm responding from ego, and I'm responding from anger, and I'm responding from the dark. I'm not responding from the light. And so therefore, the next part of this whole thing is that you have to understand that when you have these three elements, the mesirut, the emunah, and the koach hanitina, these are the things that come about from putting in hishtadlut, putting in effort. Again, and I'm gonna end with this. We are not expected to have a perfect ending. We are not expected to get it all right all the time. We're not expected to fill up the bags, to make sure that they're full. We're not expected to have things work out exactly how we want them to work out. You know, some people I know, like, they're married and they keep trying to have kids and they can't have kids. I know that it's a huge pain. Some people, like myself, that want to get married. I remember when I was 18 years old and I thought to myself, like, I'm going to be married forever. I remember thinking, I'm going to be married forever. The irony, because life, Hashem puts you in positions in your life. Hashem puts you in situations in your life. And you think to yourself, how is this happening to me? Me of all people? Me of all people? Nah, can't happen to me. How is this happening to me? How am I in this position? And then you try to make the position, you try to make the situation change. So I'm going to change the situation. I'm going to make it better. And you're supposed to. You're supposed to try to put effort into making your life a better life. But if it doesn't work out, okay, if you put so much effort and energy into this business, you put so much effort and energy into this relationship, you put so much effort and energy into whatever it is that you're putting effort and energy in because you want to see better results, and it doesn't work out, guess what? That's not your fault. That's not your fault. All you have to do, all you have to keep your eye on is your hishtadlus. You keep showing up. You keep trying. You keep putting in effort, not the end result. That's all that matters. And by the byproduct of that, the byproduct of you putting in effort and you falling and getting up and falling and getting up and falling and getting up, and make sure not to stay down. Make sure not to stay down. Don't stay down. Don't stay down. This didn't work out. It's okay. You're going to do something else. It'll come from a different direction. You keep talking to yourself. You keep pushing yourself. You keep trying to make it to yes, succeed. But if you don't, and if you're not there yet, you know where you are? By the act of putting in effort, just by the act of putting in effort, regardless of the result, you know what he says happens? You create these three things in your nefesh that are priceless. And these three things are mesirut, sacrifice, emunah, belief, and iftinah, and giving. You become a giver. You become a person that's actually making the world into a better world, into a better place. You're evolving this being. And the only way to evolve the being is to really understand that it happens on the way there, not only when you get there. On the way there, the journey is when you become you, when you do your mission. That's when your mission is taking place, on the way. Now, when you get to the final destination, now when you get that, now when you have the money, now when you buy the house, now when you get married, now when you have the child, now when you get to the final destination, it's on the way. It's the trying to have the child, it's the trying to get married, it's the trying to be a better person, it's the trying to go to shul, it's the trying to get up in the morning and go work out, it's the trying to be healthier, it's the trying to not speak lashon hara, it's the trying that makes you become your biggest self. That's what's going to give you the upgrade. That's what's going to give you the strength. And he says also, Rabbi Nachman there, he says, make sure that when your kids do something, that you compliment them, not on the final result of what they did, not on the end result. You compliment them on the effort. A kid that takes the test and that puts hours and hours and hours of himself into studying for this test and gets a 60, in God's eyes, okay, and from Torah's perspective, is on a much higher level, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, than the kid that doesn't have to put in a moment and like aces it. No problem. No problem. You know, and I just want to end. I want to end with this. He just says, make sure to compliment your children on the effort that they put in, not on the final result, not on the end result. That's something that's really important. And make sure to compliment yourself also on the effort that you put in. Okay, so you went to a million meetings and you tried and you davened and it fell through. It fell through. You put in so much effort. Good job. Because it's the effort that matters. It's all about the effort. Lo alecha al melacha ligmor. Just want to say one thing. I wish I would still know where this message is. I got a message on Facebook from this guy about a year ago. I think I mentioned this in one of the classes, but I'm just going to mention it again because it really, really made a very big impression on me. He sent me a message. Wow, I have to find it. I really need to find it. But I can't find it now. So he said to me, he said, Devorah, it's really nice that you give us so much, chizuk, and that you try to speak and all of that. But I don't know how you have the chutzpah to speak. Don't worry, you guys. You don't have to worry about people attacking. People do that. People do that a lot, and I've learned to deal with it. People also protect and come to my rescue a lot and defend and that. But that's also useless. He's putting down, so people put him down. It's just a useless waste of time. But anyway, he said to me, it's very nice that you're trying to be mechazik the whole entire world. But come on. He said, like if you were Tony Robbins and you lifted yourself up from the ground up and you came from nothing and you became like a multi-billionaire and you were feeding half of America and you were giving these crazy seminars, okay, then I would take advice from you. But why would I take advice from you? Look at you. You're not married. You're a single mom. I don't know what your job is. And you're not a success. And when he sent me this message, it went deep. It went deep, really, really deep. It went so deep, it cut through me, and that doesn't usually happen. Like I'm pretty strong when it comes to these messages and stuff, and it really cut through me. And then I said, I remember just being up and thinking, maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. Why am I doing this? Maybe I should just, go be like, I don't know, work in some office somewhere, just have like a normal day job and life and, not try to think of, do all these things and create all these ideas and projects and speak and this and that and hustle and all of that. Maybe I should just lay low. Like he's right. And I read it to my friend and she was like, yeah, he is right. I hear his point. And it lingered with me for a long time, this message from this guy. And I don't know if I ever got back to him. I'm going to find the message and I'm going to find the message. I'm going to, see if I got back to him. I don't remember getting back to him. But what he said was wrong. And it really, the reason that it cut into me so much is because we live in the matrix. And like I said before, the matrix is all about, bottom line results and results. Show me what you got. Show me what you did. Show me the dollar signs. Show me what's in your bank account. Show me your home. Show me. Show me the bottom line. You married, you have kids, you have a house, you have a car, you have money, you have health. All right, then you're in the game. And if you're not, then you're a loser. And that's the matrix that we're living in. But that is not what Hashem has in mind, wants from us, is not Torah, and is not the correct way to think about life. We are not about the end results. We are about how much effort, how much toil, how much of ourselves we pour into something. That is what we are about. Your child's success or lack of success is not your fault or is not to your credit. It's a matter of how much effort you put into your kid. You put effort into your kid, what they end up becoming is their mazel. It's their life. It's their journey. It's what God has in mind for them. It has nothing, so little to do with, how well you did. All you have to do is be a parent. You have to be there. You have to do your job, and you have to show up on a daily basis. Beyond that, the end result of what's going to come out of them has nothing to do with you. Has nothing to do with you. And you know what? It's so obvious that that's the truth because look at all these parents. There's so many parents like Tony Robbins' mom and dad and Oprah's mom. And, so many examples I can give of people that were so dysfunctional and so abusive and so terrible to their kids and drug addicts. And they went against the book. Okay. Everything that it says in the book how to be a good parent, they went against. And they weren't. And look at their kids. And their kids came out really, 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 really working and toiling and pouring so much effort to prove their parents wrong. Right? And then you have these parents that put in so much effort and so much love and the kid comes out totally different than their parents had in mind. The end result is not what we have to keep our eye on. The only thing we need to keep our eye on is the process and showing up and putting in hishtadlus, because when you put the hishtadlus in, then that builds you, that creates you, that builds your next world, it builds this world, creates vessels in your neshama, in your nefesh. And that is the message of this week's parsha, part of this week's parsha. Of when the choshech comes in, when the darkness comes in, you got to know that you have to know that the sadness and the yish and the giving up and all of those things, they're there to break you. They're there to break you. Don't let it break you. You just keep pushing. You keep pushing. You put effort. You keep showing up on a daily basis. It didn't work out. The next thing is going to work out. The next thing didn't work out. The next thing is going to work out. It doesn't matter. What matters is what's happening to you in the process of it all. Have a beautiful Shabbos and a very good night. Thank you for listening. Bye.